Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Robert Stickle. I'm also joined by my colleague Jose Levy. Jose will be today's presenter and will discuss the topic of unlocking the power of Jira, extending into a scaled agile portfolio management solution with OnePlan. This webinar is a new addition to our series of Agile webinars, so if you enjoy this video, feel free to watch the others we have available on our channel and look towards the next installment, which we'll be releasing soon. And as always, I hope that today's presentation grants you some insight into the world of project and portfolio management and gets you excited for the new developments happening within the industry and here at OnePlan. Thank you again. I'll now turn the presentation over to Jose.
Thank you, Robert, and thank you everyone for joining today. Well, we're going to be talking about using OnePlan with Jira to obtain a scale agile solution. So the first thing I want to talk about is really achieving enterprise agile and how we are experiencing this in the market with our customers. So if your organization is going through an agile transformation of any sort, by the way, the requirement is that you're going to have to harmonize a lot of different concepts in order to change from a highly structured organizational structure to a network structure where you're delivering value for customers. And what that means is that you're going to encounter different frameworks, agile, waterfall, hybrid. Even within agile itself, there's 3 or 4 frameworks, and you might have within your organization even different groups using different ways of managing agile work. There's different levels of agile maturity in the organization. So some might be more advanced and have shifted left all the way. Some might be using projects together with epics in their perspectives and trying to prioritize both of them at once. But again, even if it's in a transition phase, you're going to be managing those different levels of maturity of delivering agile solutions. You have parts of the organization outside of software and product development that you have to integrate. So there might be marketing, infrastructure, even within IT. So how do you bring all those together into one cohesive, scaled, agile approach? There's non-agile data, by the way, that might be required for you to integrate. I talked about projects, the concept of traditional waterfall projects, but maybe ideas, OKRs, applications, capabilities from enterprise architecture. So, and then there's non-Jira work management solutions that you might have to integrate. Again, you are primarily a Jira organization, but you're trying to scale or reach enterprise agile, and you have to have all these different challenges of how you're going to have to harmonize both data and work and structures, organizational structures into one view. So what we want to do is, address how we can, how OnePlan allows you to harmonize all of that, and while you maintain, your focus on, your Jira work. This just came out, and I wanted to highlight it because it also supports the the concept that we have to work with different modes and different data sets. So this is the hype cycle for strategic portfolio management for 2023, and you can see that lean portfolio management is at the top here, is really at the peak of inflated expectations. So if your leadership team is reading these reports and saying we need to do lean portfolio management, how can you actually achieve that when you have the challenge of all those different elements that I talked about earlier, let alone starting a practice with without having any of the required elements. You can see that the word adaptive appears a lot, which is basically where we're looking for the ability to manage different types of frameworks together. So Agile Beyond IT, Adaptive PM and Reporting, Agile Project Management is now on its way down. Enterprise Agile frameworks, that is going through disillusionment and going into enlightenment. And these are all, most of them are 2 to 5 year time frames, 5 to 10 year framework time frames. So the way to read this, these are all, specific practices and technologies that you can use to scale Agile, if you will. And here at Adaptive Portfolio Governance, so the hype cycles dominated by Agile and adaptive practices. So you have to take all of them into account, which means that you can't be really locked into any one approach, at least initially, until you get to the end state for your organization in terms of scaling Agile. And I think this is where OnePlan provides the benefits. So Jira Align being the primary tool for scaling Agile with Jira, has it's a very good tool, but it has a very strict approach for trying to bring together all of those elements. One of the primary requirements is that the teams need to be working very efficiently within Jira for Jira Align to actually be of any value, because it's primarily based on having tasks and story with points in order for you to then roll up to all of the different scale levels that we see there. I'm not saying you can't go top down with a solution, but the primary approach is really rolling up and seeing what tasks and stories at the team level are, for then you to plan at the program level, and then combine with the top-down planning elements that Jira Align has. So in this context, as you see, we really can't manage anything that's not Agile. So you want to include a project, well, you can probably configure, have a custom configuration for it, but that's not really the intended use of the tool. So this is where, again, the rigidity and with the use of Jira Align for scaling Agile, again, it's good, but it doesn't really allow you to harmonize all the different concepts that you need to as you do an Agile transformation. And that's really because it's a journey which you can try to go as far shift left as possible and transform the whole organization. But the reality is that more than half of organizations are adaptive, and that just has to do with the way organizations are, leadership preferences, organizational structures, the nature of the work. Not all the work can be done. I mean, Agile purists can claim that all work can be done in Scrum Agile fashion, but the reality is that it might not be the best approach for some types of work. A schedule or a task list might be better for some types of work. Not everything can be done in a Kanban, which means that you are here. You need that flexibility. There's some organizations that, in government, construction, that will always be, driven by waterfall schedules. So, they will not, as much as they want to use Jira, they probably will not use Jira. But most organizations are, in this adaptive state and trying to move more and more towards, enterprise Agile. And there is a limit. I would say there's a limit in your organization based on, how you actually work and the work that you perform, whether you're going to be able to, shift left 100%. So that's kind of the challenge for an organization that's using Jira 100%. You have, all of the translating all of the taxonomy that that leadership needs to manage strategy, portfolios, value streams, epics. Now, all of that can be defined within Jira Align. I mean, it does have the capability to do that, but I would say it's more as a complement as you roll up everything from what's happening at the team level. You know, from a Jira standpoint, all of this is being managed, and then you're connecting it to Jira Align in order to get to the next level of managing programs and all of the elements that leadership requires. And I mentioned different methodologies, so you know you have to be able to harmonize all of these and within one solution, by the way, which I think is also the challenge. You know, can you actually have part of your you know, plan types and planning hierarchy or issue types? You know, if you were to define issue types with the ability to accommodate all of the different scaling frameworks. Now, you know, Jira Align, again, assuming we're a Jira organization, we're going to use Jira Align. There are playbooks for every one of these, but you really have to manage multiple of them. You might have to manage multiple frameworks at a time. And I think that's where OnePlan gives you the flexibility. That's where we're leading, where OnePlan gives you the flexibility to do this. So another element is, you know, alignment beyond your epics and features and stories. So, you know, the solution does have the ability to manage key results, you know, and OKRs, but here we go beyond that, where you actually have to tie in enterprise application elements. And again, I think this is where OnePlan can brings the benefit of including enterprise architecture components that you can associate directly to your epics and have a perspective of impact on, you know, application portfolio management, business architecture, and enterprise architecture. So again, flexibility to extend beyond what will be strictly, you know, scale agile approach, and be able to see elements of, okay, how does the outcomes from an application actually impact the key result that's driving our primary objective. So you need to be able to do that within your solution. So I think this is where OnePlan brings together its elements and gives you the ability to not only have portfolio perspectives at different levels of scale, at a program level, and then a lean portfolio level, at a team level also. And while respecting that all that work at the team level is being done at a different tool. And in this case, you know, for a Jira organization, it's going to be done exclusively in Jira. So at the same time, you have the ability to manage resource plans, manage financial plans. There's other elements within the portfolio, by the way, that that you get to define, as I mentioned earlier, your strategy, your ideas as they evolve into epics, and then they're you know, broken down further in Jira into stories and tasks or features if you break epics into features. If you're planning work, then you can do financial plans at those different levels of scale also, either at a program level, at an epic level, and then even at a feature level if you wanted to, or roll up points and effort in order to cost out what that you know, features and epics are going to be. So again, bringing your top-down planning perspective with your bottom-up from what's going on at the team level. So OnePlan will bring the Jira plans in whichever way you have them structured. And I think that's also a benefit of using OnePlan, because you know, we have flexibility in the way that you integrate that you know, those issue types into OnePlan. You know, Jira is very flexible in that, from that standpoint, and OnePlan respects that and allows you to to integrate in different ways, and to map to what we call our plan type hierarchy in different ways also. So there's a lot of flexibility there. And then status reporting, we have a status reporting mechanism within the tool, a feature that allows you to status, again, at the different levels of scale. And you can snapshot that data in order to do trending reports, whether it's, again, at a feature epic program level or higher. And, that is within OnePlan itself. And that's in addition to any statusing that you might be doing within Jira and bringing into OnePlan. So a broader view kind of gives you the value of what OnePlan can bring to a Jira organization. Again, it's that flexibility to harmonize all the different concepts for all the different stakeholders in one solution. So this is a simplified view of all the features. We could break this down even further, but strategy in terms of objectives and key results will generate ideas or generate initiatives, projects that allow you to reach a specific objective and key result. So from the strategy area, you can generate projects, directly that will be evaluated for, selection and prioritization. The ideation area or the ideas area allows you to, everyone in the organization to submit an idea. We have a request portal available for anyone in the organization, and an EPMO can can take those ideas, put them through workflows, and then have them approved and put into any type of epic funnel for evaluation, or if they're features themselves, they can be also put in and evaluated as part of a backlog. You have the elements of enterprise architecture that could be driving also initiatives, in terms of work that needs to be done on applications, initiatives for optimizing value streams or capabilities, and those can be tracked within OnePlan also. These sources of initiatives are then made available to portfolio managers in different features that we have in order to evaluate them, put them through an approval process, a formal approval process, and then sequencing in terms of having resources available to do the work, or funding to do the work. So that is done within our portfolio area, and using our resource and financial management capabilities. So you literally create financial plans and resource plans for the initiatives that you've started or sourced from strategy ideas or enterprise architecture. So from here we actually get to delivery, and it's likely that for a Jira organization, the majority of that work is going to be done in Jira, and that's perfectly fine, because we have the ability to, from OnePlan, create items within Jira, and also have data come back through our integration into OnePlan with work that's either been updated or work that's been created, or different elements of Scale Agile that have been created. Maybe new features were created or new epics were created. So, and from that standpoint, Jira can continue to be the primary source of work data in Scale Agile. Now, if you're using other tools, and I think this is where the benefit comes in, you can also bring that data into OnePlan and have more project managers, Scrum Masters participate in the delivery process through our integrations. Another benefit for team members, you can status work or tasks, different issue types within Jira and bring it into OnePlan. But OnePlan also has my work where you can see all other work that has been assigned to a team member. And if you actually need a timesheet, OnePlan has a timesheet, and again, you will be putting actual hours against tasks that came in from Jira. So there you have the ability to do actual work in order to do timesheet actuals with rates for resource for team members that are in the resource center. So that's an additional benefit that that OnePlan provides for team members. And then finally, it all starts with visualizations, and we have status reporting directly within the tool, different view areas, as well as report packs within Power BI, and also OData connector and external database if needed for reporting with other tools. So you're not strictly limited to Power BI, although that is our out of the box report pack that we have. And there's other visualizations, as I said. The visualizer gives you a perspective of how everything's connected, all the different plan types are connected within the tool, associations that are created as you're going through the planning cycle. So you can see that it's a much broader perspective than to enable the organization to do scale agile than just taking all work that's only in Jira. So again, if you're a Jira organization, you can go beyond just integrating teamwork in Jira by using OnePlan. So one important element of this is our OneConnect platform, and we prominently show Jira here because yes, it is one of the integrations that we have, and again for a Jira organization is going to be the primary one, but you can see that you can bring in all other elements of work, of financial data, enterprise architecture, strategy data as needed by using our OneConnect platform that's part of the product. So we think it's critical. That's really how you're going to be able to harmonize, as I said, all the different elements into one solution. So you need to take that into account. Otherwise, we will only be seeing only the work that's within Jira, and that unfortunately, as you're doing scale agile, it's going to be it might be limited. You might have other workloads that you need to take into account. So what you're going to be the proposition is to again do your agile planning in Jira, and then have program and portfolio management, financial and capacity planning in OnePlan, and have the investment approval take place. So then you can, again, continue to leverage the solution as you currently are, but have that additional element in order to achieve scale agile. And in terms of how mapping occurs, I just want to highlight this because it is a flexible approach. We have here, the concept of a portfolio program in Epic. The direction kind of tells you how things, how data is being integrated, but it can be bi-directional. And you can define your process in terms of how you want to do it. In this example, in OnePlan, the epics are being created after doing portfolios and programs. Epics are being taken into Jira. Features, stories, tasks, and bugs are being defined in Jira, and then they're coming back into OnePlan, as work is occurring and being status, and then that gets rolled up into views. You can see there's 2 points of integration. There's a portfolio integration and a work plan integration. Work plan in the context of OnePlan is where the actual work resides, where the schedules of work, task list in different in any real framework. We have a formal schedule that is a waterfall approach, and then we also have a backlog that brings in or where any of the agile work actually resides. So if we go to work plan backlog, that's where we will see in this example features, stories, and tasks. And in portfolio, we would see the epics. But in many cases, by the way, we have seen customers go bi-directional, which means that if I wanted to actually have epics go back and forth, in other words, they can be created in Jira and they can create it in OnePlan. That is also allowed. So the tool does have that capability, but we want to highlight here that part of it is actually defining your process and how you're going to be working, because most likely the Jira users, the teams are working in Jira are not going to be users in OnePlan. I mean, they can be for the My Work view, but it's most likely that they will stay in Jira, and it's only portfolio managers, Scrum masters, project managers are going to be actually in OnePlan, looking at how everything is evolving and coming together. And this is a picture of an integration. You do have to configure it, so part of the setup is actually going through and figuring out exactly how it's all going to come together. So we don't get away from that. I will say that in the case of OnePlan compared to the other tools, from watching how it's done in the other tools, it's simpler, and I would say we can accommodate your current structure more easily in other, if you're using Jira Align, it's likely that you have to have a number of elements already in place before you can even start using the tool. In the case of OnePlan, you can evolve over time your planning structure to achieve Agile at scale. All right, so let's go to the demonstration. Okay, so now I am showing, I am within Jira actually. So I decided to start within Jira with OnePlan within it. So this is currently available in the marketplace, but it's essentially OnePlan embedded within Jira as an application. So if we go to apps here, we can see that OnePlan is showing, and I also see it. I also have it here on my navigation pane, and I'm looking at I have an environment for our strategic portfolio management. We do have other ones just from a demonstration standpoint to show our agile portfolio management demonstration, which is our OnePlan for agile portfolio management. The webinar next week actually addresses this scenario, so I'm going to deal with just the high level components of strategic portfolio management, because I'm going to let my colleague Jim Patterson next week actually go through those elements more specifically. But what happens is you are creating elements within Jira that are then integrated, okay, through our integration. And here, this is the one that I actually wanted to show. This is actually something that was created in Jira, and it's also being managed within OnePlan. So as team members are working on these items, and they are statusing here, you could be, that status will be taken and planted into OnePlan. You can see that we have a time tracking element here for this and you would continue to use Jira exactly as you currently use it. So that's not going to change. And let me go here. So if you haven't seen OnePlan before, and again, this is OnePlan embedded within your Jira instance, we have our navigation on the left, which has icons for different areas. And they start with a home page for users. If you are a user, will also have My Work if they want to see, all of the work that's been defined for them, and not only the work in Jira, but in other tools. And that's really what team members are going to be focusing on, only those two, and the rest they will continue to work as they do in Jira. If you are if you require timesheets, they will also have access to timesheets. So those are really the three areas for team members to view. The rest, if you're a portfolio manager, so this user is a portfolio manager, the portfolio manager can see ideas, can see strategy, can see portfolio, which is the main, really I would say the main area for portfolio managers and project managers. If you want to tie in enterprise architecture, that's where you will see it. You have resource plans. Status reports, as I mentioned, is a feature within the tool that you can apply at any level. Modeler, which is where we're going to do our what if capability, and then the resource center. So we do have a resource center where you can have generics and named resources within the tool. This is kind of our guide. If you're in any area of the tool, you can open the guide and it'll give you a video and a quick overview of the tool. You can also go to at any time, go to our help area to get on our support site. We do have a learning management system, by the way, if you are interested in deploying that. But I'll start, with ideas here. It's one of the areas where you can begin creating items, and again, the ideas could be going, once approved and becoming an epic, and then the epic actually gets into Azure DevOps, into Jira for further deconstruction. But the concept is you're going to have, a lean business case, whatever, epic hypothesis, whatever you want to call it, and have all those elements included within the tool, and manage it through a life cycle. There is workflow available for this in order to get approvers, different stakeholders involved. In this case, it is an approved item, which we can then move forward in the life cycle and close. And all here, you can have a view that can show you new ideas, all ideas. We can focus on the ones that need review. You can create your own view. So you could buy business unit who's actually providing the ideas. We'll focus on the ones that need review. So in terms of the data set, this is a filter view, but if you wanted to bring in other data, you could. If we wanted to include benefits as part of our view, we could do that, and then have that as the criteria that we're using in order to see, okay, from a prioritization standpoint, this one doesn't have any benefits, but it's very highly ranked. This one is ready. It's actually active, so we could actually come in here and approve this item. If we want to approve it, we can go ahead. It's been approved, which means that now we can actually do what's called conversion, and which again, there's a couple of ways of doing this in the tool, but in this scenario, it's really converting it from a project. And in this case, I'm going to make it an epic. I'm going to make it an epic that is part of a program, and then once I do this, it will actually create the epic. If I'm tied to Jira, then that would take it to Jira, as I showed earlier, and we would then be able to then continue its deconstruction within Jira. And anything that comes out of that in terms of either stories or features, depending on what your issue types are, then that can actually then be brought back into OnePlan, because this epic, when turned by what's happened now, it's going to be part of my my portfolio structure. So it's likely that it's one of these epics here, and now that means that again, it's in it is in Jira being deconstructed. In fact, this is the one that we were looking at earlier. So once it is in OnePlan, as in this case, an epic, we're going through our process steps. So going into the funnel, reviewing, analyzing. So, going through all the steps in terms of deconstructing it, getting it through our analysis of the epic business case in order then to take it into the backlog. So all of this could be taking place. This is another benefit, that you can decide how much of this data you want to manage in OnePlan versus Jira. So all of these fields could be mapped to fields that you have in Jira or not. You could be managing this data set within OnePlan, while some of the fields, are coming from Jira. In fact, here you can see that we've tied it to adaptive PPM. That's where it's tied to the Jira project name. That's one of the integration points that we have. But in terms of the business case, you can see here that we can develop that. This could have come from that initial ideation phase, prioritization. You can use WSJF, or you can use your own criteria, and you can see that scoring changes as I'm changing the values, because there's a formula that's driving this prioritization score. And if you want to do associations with enterprise architecture, or your strategy, you can do that here. Okay, this is going to support a specific key result. It's going to support an application. It's going to support a product. If we go back to the presentation, when I said earlier, having the ability to integrate more data sets in order to have richness in your decision-making process, this is what OnePlan would provide. You can plan points here, or you can bring them from Jira directly. So that's another capability that we have in terms of mapping the data set. If you want to schedule, you can do that also, when the epic is going to be due, or you can bring that in if you've actually scheduled it in Jira. Financials, I'll talk about in a second, because we have the ability to do top-down financials, but you can also be planning your, doing a full budget from your, for this particular epic. And you can see here that I have the ability to do a budget, a forecast, actuals, benefits, and these can be tied to a financial system also. If you want to bring in, your forecast, and then the actuals can be driven by, the costing of your elements, or again, like I said, you can bring in it from an external solution. We have different ways of integrating data. It could be through a CSV, or it could be directly through an API or one of our connectors. So that's where that financial data comes from. If you don't want to use this, by the way, you don't have to. You could be just doing summary financials in terms of putting here the top-down values, and not just driving them from our financial grid. But you do have benefits and ROI if you're managing ROI. And then the work plan can also be driven by the costing of the resources from the resource plan. So here is, again, from a resource capacity planning standpoint, this is another one of the benefits. You don't necessarily need to be driven by the data that's within the teams in Jira. You could be doing a top-down resource plan, and you could do percent, hours percent, or FTE, and plan this epic out before anything really was defined. You could be doing it here. We have individuals, but if you wanted to do a team, we can plan by teams. So if you wanted to assign teams to to specific epics, you can. Here we have individuals and business units, but we do manage teams within the resource center. The other concept is, once you have your work planned in Jira, all of that can be brought into to OnePlan in terms of the allocation of time by the individuals. And what's happening is that work is actually being integrated from OnePlan, from Jira, sorry, into OnePlan. So here we have the elements that we were looking previously, and we have either points or effort that's coming in, and that's actually what's driving the resource plan that we saw. In fact, we can actually expose it here. That's what's driving the resourcing that then is being used to actually derive the resource plan that you saw, the scheduled resource plan, and then the details here for work and for costing. So we do, this is actually driven by the work plan, by what came in from Jira. In terms of Epic Effort, same thing. The integration allows you to bring in the data and also the work plan, what's actually been defined within Jira as work and then brought into OnePlan, so then you can see it. In terms of statusing, again, whether you're an Epic or a feature or story, you can do statusing. These can be driven by formulas, by the way, so they don't have to be manual. And then if you're snapshotting them, then you're going to be able to see the trend of the item. And then we have a place for Epic status, but really this is driven by the status report, which I think is really important because you're taking a subset of your data from details of your attributes, and then you're creating a status report that has an approval process and is going to be submitted by the owner, and then you're going to have a history of what's actually happened to this item over time. You can export it to different formats, but you're going to be able to use this data to as part of the trend for the item. So what does that mean? That means that we can go here and then use that trend data to do a trend report. So here we see, all the different items. So this fabric hem, which is in Jira, it's been ugly since the beginning, when it got started at the beginning of the year. It's still proposed, but its overall health trend doesn't look good in terms of our ability to move forward with it. We do have a compliance rating that you can use on any of the items. That's also can also be trended in terms of whether it's meeting, it's under compliance. But here you can see a more interesting one. Here's one that it was on track, it went off risk, it's on track again, and now it's at risk again. It looks like there might have been a budget issue here. We're going back to our Jira item. There are additional reports, report pack, specific report pack for the, for individual epics in this case, and a visualization. I'm going to go to another item just to let's go to this one here to see if we can get a richer visualization. So, okay, this plan has a dependency. So we do, you do define dependencies within the tool. There's a couple of ways of doing it. And then, so here you can see where it's at. And then, if you needed to actually add an additional dependency, you can go to the quick edit. Here's the plan detail form that you saw. Again, this is the data from this is coming from Jira when we're talking about, the points backlog and so on. And then if you wanted to do dependencies, you can define them here and you will view them within the tool. You can have different dependencies and define the give gets. And then the other concept is visualization provides us a runway, which is, how is this related to everything else in my organization? And I think that's where OnePlan provides a benefit, versus just having Jira Align or one of the other heavier tools. Very quickly, we can see here how this epic is tied to key results. So it's delivering value in order to achieve this key result, which is tied to this objective. In fact, it's actually tied to two objectives: increase customer excellence and grow our corporate global business. All the relationships are shown here. You could simplify this. We just decided for effect to show from objective to key result to epic to products to applications, capabilities, and value streams. So we can see that if this item, which is not going well, its status is red, is actually impacting our quote to cash value stream. So it might be that we don't reach the objective for quote to cash, the metrics for quote to cash, unless we actually fix this or do something, add an additional, either an additional initiative or figure out a way how to actually get this, because it's got schedule, basically under resourced. So we need to figure out a way of adding additional teams to it in order to not impact our two objectives and our value stream. And if we go, we can see we can create other views as needed. Let's see if we can open up the. So Power BI is our primary reporting solution. However, there are ways of providing the data either through OData or a separate data store for you to use with other reporting tools. Every area has its own kind of set of report pack. This is the one that's specifically for individual epics. So here we have the financial summary, the resource plan with the data over time, who's working on what and who's working through what time frame. Again, we're at an individual epic level. The backlog summary, risk, if you want to track risk. And I'm showing, Power BI embedded within OnePlan and within Jira, by the way, which you could, access separately if you went directly to Power BI. Issue summaries, changes, a different status report. So you can have the status report that is within the tool, or you can have a separate one within Power BI. It's the same information, it's just done, in a different interface. If you are using timesheet hours, there's timesheet reports also. This one doesn't have any timesheet. Trends, remember the snapshots that we did for the indicators here, you can actually see the history or where the status actually went off track for this one. And work trend. So right within Jira, I'm actually giving you the ability to, manage to a greater detail the epic by rolling up all the information, but at the same time, being able to define financials, define a resource plan, and then integrate the backlog that's coming from Jira in order to drive greater analysis and then make it part of the overall portfolio. So our board allows you to, model a step, and you can create different ones. By the way, you see that we have different ones, and then you can focus on whether it's epic and projects. So you can, again, that concept of harmonizing, being able to see all the data and not only what's in Jira. I think that's what we're talking about here. You can see that I have dependencies within them, and then for my Jira item, which I saw earlier, I can go to quick edit and again see where we are with it. And you can define what you see within the card. If this is you can configure it to show what you need it to see. Here we're doing by business unit, but I could be doing it by teams, Jira project name, Jira project type. So it's flexible from that standpoint. We're looking at overall health, my color, and in terms of WIP limits, we do have counts on the board. But here you're looking at your process steps, you're looking at your status. We have a couple that are in red. Here's my Fabricam one that we were just looking at that's impacting negatively some items. if I want to see, okay, what else could I actually do to enhance this, other additional projects, there might be other projects that can actually, support, or maybe I need to do less work in order to bring more resources into Fabricam. That's where I was saying that I could use my modeler in order to then look at my different scenarios and decide, the impact of selecting or deselecting items. So maybe I need to take some off out of this scenario in order to free resources that I will be able to apply to Fabricam. So I'm taking some work off in order to then be able to provide additional resources to Fabricam. So maybe some of these items also that are active, I will extend, because what I need to do here is again focus on Fabricam in order to be able to deliver more value. And I could be showing, by the way, my resource pool to see exactly which of the items that are causing resource overload, in order to then assign more resources to Fabricam. So if I click here, I can impact make the change to it. And once I've made decisions on which projects I'm going to do, I could then save the scenario as an additional scenario. So remediate Fabricam, and that's my scenario that I've placed for that in order to fix the issue that we have with Fabricam. There's other features here. If you wanted to talk about money, funding, there's you can then roll up your budget and benefits to see whether you are within your budget. And it looks like we have 14 million that we selected, and we had 25. So it looks like we should be able to fix the issue with Fabricam. If you want to see the impact of all the projects, you can open the visualizer here within it's basically giving you the, what is impacting everything. It's kind of an interesting view. And we also have provided charting also as part of the tool. Let me take this off. This is a new capability, where you can actually do prioritization scores and benefits to see exactly where the selected projects are laid out visually, budget versus benefit. All right, that's kind of an overview of Jira, OnePlan within Jira for Scale Agile. Now I'm going to return to the presentation real quick. All right, so some parting thoughts. OnePlan provides a more flexible platform for scaling Agile practice with Jira. Yes, the majority of your work is going to be within Jira, and when we integrate that fully, but you will have other work, other methods, other data sets that you will have to, if you want to see a complete picture for scaling Agile. And that's where OnePlan provides the integration capabilities and the ability to harmonize all that data, which is really the concept I want to push forth here. It can be configured to your specific Jira configuration. So there, in the case of Jira, it's more flexible than other Agile planning tools, and we accommodate that. There's different mappings that can even occur. You might be managing one taxonomy in Jira, and then you can bring it into OnePlan with a different taxonomy to, again, convert it into Scale Agile. If you compare it to other enterprise Agile tools, OnePlan is at a lower cost and faster to implement, that leading to faster time to value. So common Jira Align implementations that we've heard from customers, you're talking about 700-800 hours, only one team. So and again, assuming that they're actually working within Jira really well. And from there, the price and the implementations go higher. In the case of OnePlan, we have a flexible implementation packages, and we can have you up and running in less time than that. So definitely compelling from a time to value standpoint. With OnePlan, you can extend into other practices, enterprise architecture, strategy management, as I showed. So while you're in Jira, you can extend with into other areas that might be helpful for leadership to achieve lean portfolio management or agile portfolio management that they're trying to do. And then, as I said, we integrate with other work execution tools to have that complete strategy to delivery perspective. If you're only using Jira and Jira Line, and you might be limited from that standpoint. So again, OnePlan gives you the ability to have a more comprehensive view. For those of you that don't know us, we are a leader in strategic portfolio management. We were recently awarded again our Partner of the Year finalist. We've either been finalist or winner for over the last 5 years. So there's really no one with that level of awards within the Microsoft ecosystem. We work closely with Microsoft, but also operate in other ecosystems, as I showed with Jira. We do have more webinars. Please look at our calendar within our website, and you can see them also on demand within that, that within our webpage for webinars. The solutions that we have are available. You might be in a different mode that I showed. You may be using Jira for product portfolio management, so you can tie that together, and so those solutions are available. So you can try them within our page. And the solution that I showed is within the Atlassian marketplace. So if you want to go ahead, there's a free trial within the marketplace. Give it a whirl, connect it, and see if it helps you move forward with your scaling Agile initiative within your organization. Obviously, make contact with us in order to properly integrate the OneConnect in order to see your data within your Jira, within OnePlan and Jira. If you like to have a personalized demo, please give us a call. Our contact information is shown. And thank you for your time, and look forward to hearing from you regarding your Scale Agile portfolio management needs. My contact information is provided, and again, look forward to hearing from you. Please come back next week for our webinar on strategic portfolio management within Jira. Thank you very much.